Hi everyone, I'm Luca, one of the co-creators of the Wick Editor, and today I'll be showing you how all the different mouse events inside of Wick work. Now, if you've watched the Getting Started with Interactions tutorial, you'll know how to add a mouse click event to individual buttons and projects. If you select an object, you convert it into an interactive button, you'll be able to add a script and then you'll get this code window to pop up on screen. Now, in this code window, the first tab that'll be open is the mouse tab, and you'll notice that there's 8 different mouse events here. Now, each of these mouse events acts in a slightly different way, and we'll go over how every single one of these works in this video. So I've put together a small project here that actually has buttons that you use each of these events. All of the buttons in this video are going to be using basically the same code. If I look at this button's code, all it's doing here is it jumps to another frame of the timeline using go to and stop. The first 3 buttons that we have in this project are mouse press, mouse released, and mouse click. So if I play this, you'll see how each of these work. Mouse press buttons work immediately on a left click. So if I click, it immediately goes. And let's try that one more time. I'm going to click without releasing my mouse. And you'll see that it still fires forward. Now, a mouse release will only fire when the mouse is actually released, when the left click is released. So if I click down, nothing happens. But once I release the mouse click, it jumps to the next frame. Now, this mouse click is what we used in the Getting Started tutorial. They will only fire if someone clicks down and releases over an object without leaving it. So if I click on this mouse click, leave the button and try to release, nothing will happen. But if I click and release, then it will. And so that's the difference between these 3, mouse press, mouse release, and mouse click, is they'll fire on various types of left clicking actions. So if we continue on, now here on frame 3, I've got 2 different events, mouse enter and mouse leave. Mouse enter is pretty straightforward. Once a mouse enters the object, it immediately fires. Now, mouse leave is very similar, but it will fire once the mouse leaves the object the first time. So one more time, mouse enter will fire immediately on enter, and mouse leave will fire immediately on leave. And continuing over to our last frame. So now on this frame, I have the 3 continuous mouse events. So these mouse events will fire every single tick that their condition is met. Now, to demonstrate this, I have a counter down here. See how the counter's set to 0? The counter is going to increase by 1 every frame these conditions are met. So if we hover over the mouse down button and I press down, you'll notice the counter starts to fire. And then if I release, the counter stops. So pressing down will fire the counter. Mouse hover, I don't actually need to even press anything to make mouse hover fire. I just have to hover over it, and you'll notice that it fires. I'm not clicking the mouse, and if I leave, mouse hover stops. And now here's mouse drag. So mouse drag is kind of interesting. In order for mouse drag to fire, I have to click and then drag the mouse around in order for that to move. So that is how mouse drag works. I have to click down, and it will fire so long as I keep moving around and clicking down on that object. So that's how all the different events work in Wick. If you like this tutorial, let me know in the comments down below and tell me which tutorials you'd like to see next. And if you want to support the Wick Editor, head on over to our Patreon and become a patron. All of the patron donations go straight to supporting the Wick Editor as a free and open source tool on the web. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next tutorial.